on a guided tour, now hourly starting 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Weekday tours begin on the veranda and on the weekends in the tap room of the Al Ringling Brewery. Behind the mansion, kick back and try a flight of craft beers and dine at this family-friendly stop. Visit alringlingmansion.com for more information.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 8 o'clock.
Wake up, Fox River Valley. WRMN AM 1410 is shaking things up with a brand new weekday lineup that'll keep you informed, entertained, and engaged. I'm Marky B, WRMN Program Director and host of The First Shift, inviting you to start your day with The First Shift from 6 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. Larry Jones, Jakes, myself, and the entire First Shift team bring you the latest local news, entertainment, and, my favorite, more to kick off your morning. Then it's out to lunch with Matt McNeil from 10 until 1 p.m. Tune in for your midday fix of news, interviews, community happenings, and of course, the legendary WRMN Tradio Show. In the afternoon, join us for Fox Valley Afternoons from 2 until 6 p.m. Tammy and friends will chat lifestyle from 2 to 4, while Sonar and his crew dive into politics and news from 4 until 6. Plus, get to know the movers and shakers of the Fox River Valley with exclusive interviews, too. Don't miss out on our new local lineup that's tailor-made for you. WRMN AM 1410, the talk of the town. Tune in and turn it up.
All right, welcome into WRMN 1410 AM. And you are listening to On the Rise. I'm your host, Derek Geyer, alongside Mike Napolitano. How you doing, Mike?
Pretty good, Derek. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. You survived the sugar coma that this was this past Thursday?
I am not the biggest candy person these last couple of years, but I do indulge, that's for sure. So, were you getting a lot of trick-or-treaters?
No. I was calling bingo at Gators in Palatine. You know, like to do that. That's like my little side gig there. So
that's
shout
a different
out
type of trick-or-treat.
That's definitely a different type of trick-or-treat, but shout out to all those guys over there, guys and gals over there. On the board today is Nick Johnston. Salute, Nick.
Happy to have him back live in studio.
Live and in studio. So we will
Happy to be back, boys.
Well, good to have you back. Thank you for chiming in. Did you do anything spectacular for Halloween, Nick?
No, just chilled. Watched the ball game. Watched the Jets and the Texans, which was oof.
Yeah, that was a oof game for sure.
Otherwise, yeah,
that was the scariest part about Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. Had a little bit of trick-or-treaters by my house, but nothing too crazy. So I'm glad everyone had fun.
Oh, that's good. I mean, other than Aaron Rodgers actually throwing for, like 3 TD passes or whatever, but, I mean, that was probably a trick and a treat in itself. But we're going to get going here. Yesterday was the anniversary, not exactly the happiest of anniversaries in Chicago sports, but yesterday it was the 25-year anniversary of the passing of Walter Payton, one of the greatest Bears, in my opinion, of all time. Really, okay, the greatest Bear in all time, considering the landscape of what the Bears have become over the last, I don't know, the last 10, 15 years. Really.
I'd say even in their history and in its entirety, you know, like I don't know of a more renowned Bear than Walter Payton.
Well,
There's a couple names that come close, maybe, but I think it's unanimous. I think it's hands down.
Okay.
Number 34.
Definitely 34. Definitely sweetness. That's what I refer to the bingo number when I call 34. It's always sweetness. It does not vary. I like to give jabs and everything to number 23 because 23 is synonymous with
great. Yeah.
Jordan. I was saying Jordan.
I was staying in the football realm, but yeah.
Okay,
Jordan.
yeah. So
23
Devin
is great
Hester, sure.
Throughout Chicagoland.
Yeah, it is. Ryan Sandberg. I mean, you got the great
Jermaine
coach.
Dye.
Okay, I was going to say Robin Ventura, one of the greatest managers of the Chicago. I can't even finish that sentence.
But the World Series MVP, Jermaine Dye. And
yeah, there you
go. You've got Chris Versteeg. He deserves it. He's a part of a couple of cups.
Yeah. The thing that gets my audience going, though, is because I always say, whatever, 23, and it's like always LeBron James.
No.
And
not in Chicago.
The crowd is like, oh, what the hell are you talking about? You suck. Yeah, well, newsflash, everyone that goes to my bingo show is on Thursdays.
Do they know you have a sports radio show? They might bring their pitchforks and torches out if you say LeBron one more time and they know that this is what you do.
Well, I keep on. I like trolling them because I mean it's 10 games of bingo.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like the first go around is number 23 LeBron. LeBron. You know, now I'm adding Bronny in there.
Oh gosh.
You know, just to like really kind of like twist it. But anyway, I digress. Getting back to Walter Payton and everything. I mean, he had one of the most historic Bears run careers ever, and he actually stayed with the Bears his entire career.
Something we don't hear a lot about in Chicago, no matter what the sport.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I mean, at the time when he retired, and I'm trying to pull it up here because my memory is shiatsu this morning. His numbers were insane. Absolutely insane. Led the league. Here we go. At the time he retired, he had 16,726 rushing yards, which was the most of all time before Emmitt Smith passed him, like probably a decade or two later. One of the more complete backs. And the fact that he was on such a bad team. I mean, I was born in 76. He made the playoffs in 77, made the playoffs in 79. But then there was that 5-year drought where he didn't make the playoffs again until 84. Now, at that time, I'm a little bit older, so I can remember a little bit better that. However, have you actually ever seen a live game of Walter Payton?
Not from start to finish. I've seen a bunch of highlights and clips of the '84-'85 season, but
you weren't even born by the time he retired, did you?
No.
87 he retired.
I was born in '98, so
okay.
I just want to throw that in there.
Missed it by 11 years.
Yeah, just a bit.
And not that you would have really remembered that anyway.
Yeah,
but
right. I don't even remember the Jordan dynasty with the Bulls because I was born at the tail end of it. I was actually born after it was all over. So, yeah.
But Walter Payton, most rushing attempts. He holds a cacophony of records.
That is a laundry list.
I mean, this is, you're talking about most career rushing attempts with 3,838. Most rushing attempts in a season with 381. Most rushing attempts in a game, 40.
40. Holy cow. Can you imagine 40 these days?
No, I really can't. But, I mean, you're talking about a different generation of football then.
Right.
And the way that he was a very dynamic player. He had the speed, he had the elusiveness, he was able to truck over players and everything. Yeah. I mean, there are so many highlights. If you were to go on YouTube or wherever or NFL.com, I don't even know the stiff arms that he would deliver. It would almost seem like he was trying to knock the opponent's head off.
Yeah.
I mean, and then of course there was like the high step, but I mean, geez Louise, the most yards from scrimmage, 21,264. That's obviously a combination of the rushing and passing and all of that stuff. But I mean, geez, most 100-yard rushing games in a season, 10. Which he did in 77, 84, and 85, when the Bears actually did have a good offensive line in 84 and 85. I mean, completely and totally, one of the best running backs in the league. Top 100 players designated by the NFL the last time that they did that.
No
like
doubt.
the All-Century team, I think that was. But, I mean, and even in his passing, there's the Walter Payton Man of the Year award that is given out every single Super Bowl for, the last like 10 years or so. I mean, it was renamed, for him. And basically everyone in the league has a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. where they go ahead, because this is all due to the charity work.
Right.
So any of the nominations or nominees for the individual teams, they get like $50,000 donated to their specific charity.
That's nice. That's great.
The winner gets $250,000 for their charity. So, I mean, and this is carried on by his family, Jared Payton, his wife, Walters.
Is his daughter a part of that too, Brittany?
Yes.
Because she was a big figure in the Chicago sports world.
Thank
She
you.
was on a couple of shows. Actually, I don't know if it was more sports related. It was Chicago's Best for a while,
Yeah.
which was more food related. But I know both of his kids have gone on to do stuff. Have you ever passed by his house in Barrington? I don't mean to be creepy, but like I'm pretty sure it's public knowledge which house it was. And it's a mansion. It is. I want to say it's technically Barrington. Might be Lake Barrington. You know,
Like
the Barrington's
South
over
Barrington,
here.
somewhere over there.
Yeah, but it is nice.
Yeah.
it is. It's a masterpiece, just like his playing career. You know.
Oh, I could totally. No, I've never done the creepy, thing of like, oh, this is where Jordan lives. This is where Walter Payton lives. This is where, I don't know, Joe Madden or Jerry Reinsdorf.
Got to pass by Caleb Williams' new mansion that he got, isn't it? Isn't it
Over
right
there.
up in is it Lake Forest near where the practice
Probably.
facility is? Yeah. That's a little bit of a stretch though. A little bit of a hike for me too.
Little bit going back and forth and all over the place. But we go from like a sad moment to an even sadder moment with the way that the Bears were playing this past weekend.
I don't want to step on Marcus's toes too much here, as I said to you before the show, because I know when we get to the truth about Chicago sports, Marcus is definitely going to be breaking down this past game. But, oh my goodness, I don't even know how to characterize that game, because in my opinion, both teams did not show up to play that game. I mean, the Bears defense did a great job of shutting down the Commanders offense and keeping them out of the end zone, holding them to just those 4 field goals.
Yeah.
It's 12-0. The Bears offense is still not awake until the dying moments of the third quarter into the fourth, and then they rally behind Caleb Williams and find the end zone. Well, it almost had to be 3 times because of that fumble.
Actually, I've got some sound for that.
Oh.
But the bright spot, I think, for this is probably the Swift run.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
To Swift. Look at Swift. Take it to the Washington side of the 50. Down the sideline he goes, and he's galloping home for the game's first touchdown.
There's your Devin Hester moment. You really 2 plays off. Highlight who had.
And that was Joe Nance and Tony Romo on CBS, courtesy of the NFL Network. I mean, that pretty much came, in the third quarter? I mean, given
dying moments is there. I think there were only like 46 seconds left to go.
I mean, giving a little bit of
life.
Thank you. I mean, it bashed me over the head so many times. I mean, I was actually looking forward to this game.
Yeah.
I was actually looking forward. Hey, the Bears are coming off of a bye. They have all this time to put a game plan together. And what the hell was that steaming pile of shiatsu?
It was like watching 3 different games, and not spread out evenly throughout the course of the 60 minutes. It was, for the first 45 minutes, it was just, the Commanders are walking away with this one despite not scoring a touchdown. Yeah. Then it was, oh my goodness, look out, the Bears are coming back. And
with the Swift run, and that was in the third quarter, so that made the score 12-7.
Right.
And then, with 6:20 left in the game, you got that, what the hell moment was this with the handoff?
That was the worst play I have ever seen.
And Roschon Johnson, they like to go to short yardage. Instead, look what they do.
Oh, the ball's out, Jim.
Ball is out. The ball is out, and it's picked up by the Commanders.
Keep running. It's not blown dead.
It's Newton, and there's not a single Bear in pursuit.
Go score. I don't know. anything of what just happened. I know the ball came out, but was he down?
As you said, the handoff really was never clean. It kind of just squirts forward. When a defender does possess this football and falls over the pile, he does contact a Bears player, so he's going to be down by contact right here when you see the knee hit. So they're going to put it down, but it is a Washington football and a huge turnover in a big part of the game.
How about that? You run an offensive lineman with the football in the fourth quarter on the road. You've been trying to find some life.
And find some life. I mean, I get it. I kind of get it. They're looking to get the ball in the end zone, but when you're giving the ball to your backup center, and I didn't even notice this, and I had to rewatch it several times, and this was even after Mark Schlereth made a comment on, I believe it was like FS1 or something in the morning, how the linesman's hands are all taped up.
Right.
He's got the wrist guards on.
Yeah, how is he going to hold a football?
Right. So there is that aspect of things. And at the time, I'm thinking they're bringing in the center as a fullback. And he was lined up as a fullback. But when Caleb turned around and handed the ball off, put it into his chest, and he tried squeezing the ball, you could clearly see the ball shoot out from the wrist guards that he had on.
Yeah.
That's one aspect of things. Two, just give the ball to Roschon.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
I don't understand. That was. I understand Roschon Johnson is in no way a comparison to Marshawn Lynch, but it reminded me of when the Seahawks didn't just hand the ball to Marshawn Lynch on the 1 yard line to try to win the Super Bowl. Like, you have a running back, use him.
Yeah.
What?
If someone was listening to me while I was listening to this game in my car, they would have thought that there was an owl in there, because when they handed the ball off to Kramer, all I said was, who, why, who?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And pretty much everyone at the place that I was watching the game at was going, well, I can't say what they were saying in the bar. I mean, and I'm probably one of them saying that too. Like, what the frick just happened?
I will say what went on in my head, because I looked at the game clock right then and there.
6:20 left.
There's still time here.
Yeah.
As long as the Bears defense can hold the Commanders like they've done all day, then I have faith that Caleb Williams will get this Bears team into the end zone with how they were waking up and moving down the field. And sure enough, that happened.
Yes.
And the Bears got the lead with the touchdown, but then they went for extra. They went for more in order to make this a 3-point game with the 2-point conversion.
Which was a nice actual 2-point conversion. Hell, that could have been the goal line play.
Yeah. And if you look back I don't think it's a spoiler at this point with I think everybody has seen this game at this point.
Are you referring to Tyreek?
I'm going to get to that. But,
okay.
But what I was going to say was, if that play in which they gave the ball to their backup center, if they had just given the ball to Roschon Johnson and scored a touchdown there, and then still walked down and scored another touchdown, this game would have been wrapped up and in the bag for the Bears.
Yeah.
But instead, it comes down to a one-score game, 15-12. You're just looking to hold them out of field goal distance, but what they didn't account for was Hail Mary distance.
Yeah, they definitely didn't account for that. Well, and on the play before that, instead of calling a timeout and bringing your cornerbacks up to cover the outs and keep the cornerbacks on the field to keep the clock running, they let them get a 12-yard out, stop the clock, and then this happened.
Comes down to one last play, and it's going to be getting longer by the second. You're all the way back at the 30-yard line. Now you can step into it. Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line, and the ball is caught! Caught! It's a miracle! It's Noah Brown! Oh, my goodness! This town is going crazy. It's a madhouse in Landover, Maryland. He did it! Oh, this one will be paid back over and over again for decades. The ball tipped by Stevenson. Noah Brown just standing back there all alone, plucks it out of the air for the victory.
I know this sounds crazy, but there's a method to the madness here. everyone usually goes and jumps to the ball. You always put one guy behind and try and put one in front and have 2 or 3 go jump for it. And Daniels extending this play, and the time allowed everyone to get down there in position to go toward the ball and be in their spots. And what a game, Jim.
There are no words.
What in the hell
Pain, suffering.
was that?
Pain, suffering, anger. You'd think I'm Master Yoda speaking here, but that's just the words you use to describe Chicago sports. We can't have anything nice here.
Pain you will be watching Bears.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's, and we didn't even see this at the time the play was going on. Never mind the potentially 2 or 3 holding calls that the refs were looking at. Not only the fact that the guy got, one of the linemen got knocked down on the Bears, not only the horse collar that was given to him that was not called, then you have an absent-minded cornerback, or maybe not so absent-minded cornerback. Go ahead, Mike. I see.
Before we even get into Tyrique Stevenson, because I want to criticize that a lot too. But you mentioned all of the missed calls from the NFL officiating right there. What's more exciting for the viewership and for the money and for the league? Is it a Hail Mary that miraculously is perfect and ends this game? Or is it, oh, we're going to call this game because of the fact that there was a penalty on the final play and the Bears can accept it? And I don't believe the game can end on a penalty, so they'd probably just replay the down. But to me, it's just the NFL not actually caring about their own rules and caring more about what's going to bring in the views, what's going to bring in the money, and they swallowed the whistle, they hid the flags, nothing was called on that play when there are obviously at least 3 penalties from the Commanders on that play.
Yeah, and the game can actually end on a offensive penalty because there would be like the 10-second runoff or whatever.
Right. But then, you mentioned Tyrique and taunting the fans.
Yeah, but
not paying attention
even
on the
before that, I mean, he goes ahead, he volleyball lifts it up in the air. No one's covering him. Supposedly, throughout the whole week, there were missed assignments on that play. Excuse me, jeez. Missed assignments on the play, where someone needs to be in the back of the end zone just in case something like that were to happen, right? Yeah. Okay, that's what we saw on the broadcast. What we did not see was while the play was being run, Tyrique Stevenson looking into the stands, not into the end zone, but off to the sideline, talking to the GD fans in the stands.
Yeah. And Derek said during the play, we're talking the snap happened, and guys are running down the field, and he's still looking into the stands. It was instant karma that he ran into the pile. The ball touched off of his fingers, and then it flew back into the end zone where the man he was supposed to be covering, Noah Brown, was the man who made the catch to end this game and give the Commanders the win.
I feel my blood pressure rising again.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be one of those, this might be out of your reference and everything, but I feel like one of those old cartoons where the wolf has done everything possible to get the rabbit or the mouse or whatever and is banging his head with the club. That is what, I mean, just banging his head. And I can't believe this.
I can see the steam coming out.
Yes!
Just like the wolf.
We will not be talking about the Bears the next upcoming segment, but you are listening to AM 1410 WRMN on the Rise with your host, Derek Geyer, Mike Napolitano, Nick Johnson on the board!
Michael Brown, former Undersecretary of Homeland Security and Director of FEMA, is your new full-time host of The Weekend, which airs every Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. right here on WRMN. Each week on the popular 3-hour program, Brown offers listeners a fresh take on the weekend talk with his provocative insights into current events, politics, and culture. So late in the day on Saturday, make it a point to catch The Weekend with Michael Brown right here on WRMN, AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Located in the heart of Wisconsin Dells on beautiful Lake Delton, the Delton Oaks Resort offers a classic Wisconsin family vacation. It's an on-the-lake experience with available cabins, villas, and studio condos, all with home-style comforts and amenities, and extra space for family gatherings, reunions, and small groups. With a private sandy beach and dock, you can splash around, swim, and boat to your heart's content. There's a pontoon boat, kayak rentals, fire pit and barbecue grills are available for use for registered guests. Book your stay and enjoy all the ultimate Dells experience with bonus passes to Noah's Ark Water Park. From s'mores to oars, Delton Oaks Resort has something for everyone. Visit DeltonOaksResort.com. That's DeltonOaksResort.com.
If you can't decide on dinner, have everything. Golden Corral at 154 South Gary Avenue in Bloomingdale has an endless buffet with over 150 items to choose from. There's an unmatched variety of food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, prepared fresh throughout the day. If you're craving something specific, call or check out their menu. Golden Corral rotates the buffet often. Golden Corral in Bloomingdale. They're the only one for everyone. Visit goldencorral.com.
It's election season, and WRMN 1410 is your go-to source for up-to-the-minute coverage. From federal races to county board seats, local offices, and advisory questions, we're delivering the latest updates as results roll in. Need clarification on a candidate or a ballot measure? Call 847-931-1410 or text 505-926-1410. Our team will provide nonpartisan, factual insights on anyone or anything on the Kane County ballot. Stay with WRMN 1410, the talk of the town, for live reports, breaking news, and the information you need to stay ahead. Call 847-931-1410 or text 505-926-1410 because informed voters make the difference.
Thanks for listening to WRMN 1410. Don't forget to join us every day for our Comfort Keepers feature. Comfort Keepers is a leading provider of in-home non-medical care for seniors and other adults in need of assistance with daily activities. Again, listen daily at 7:25 a.m. for our Comfort Keepers feature. And thanks for listening.
Hide out with friends at Galati's Hideaway in Cary. It's the perfect place for lunch, dinner, and specialty drinks. Check out their sports bar for the best spot to watch games. Try Galati's Dining Room for a relaxing night of dining on their signature Italian dishes. Try their great pizza or the Build Your Own Burger. Galati's Hideaway also has a large variety of entree favorites like prime fillets, steak kebabs, salmon, and ribs. Book your party in their banquet room. Visit Galati'sHideaway.com.
You're tuned into On the Rise with Mike Napolitano and Derek Geyer on 1410 AM WRMN.
Welcome back to WRMN 1410 AM. You're listening to On the Rise with Derek Geyer and Mike Napolitano. Nick Johnson on the board. Okay, I feel like my blood pressure is finally lowered and back to normal. Sorry about the hysterics going into that previous break.
We calmed Derek down during the break, and what better way to calm him down with a much slower sport, a little bit more casual. You know, it's still exciting, especially when you get into fall, but baseball, the World Series.
Oh, what a world. No, actually, this kind of was a dud.
Yeah, I mean, it was half and half for me. They'd had its moments for sure.
Wait, okay,
Nick
hold
Johnson's
on.
shaking his head over
Why
there.
are you shaking your head over there, Nick? Yeah.
A walk-off grand slam in the first game. You've had nothing but Hall of Famers the entire time. MVPs left and right.
Yeah.
Great performances. That was the best. That might have been the greatest comeback in that Game 5. So
Okay.
I could say
Okay.
not a competitive on paper, I would say, but if you watch those games from top to bottom, that was a fun series. So
Yeah, well,
I
okay.
don't want to hear anything about that. That's
Fair
crazy.
enough. I wanted the game to go. I wanted the World Series to go 7 games.
7 is asking a lot, I think.
I don't care.
But yeah, of course, everybody wants to see a Game 7. It's exciting, and especially between two historic franchises like this that have gone head-to-head like this in World Series before in the playoffs. But I just don't. I see Nick's point. I did appreciate the fact that there were a lot of stars in this one. You had a walk-off grand slam. You had the comeback. But those were the bookends of the series, really. I mean, that was Game 1 and Game 5. Everything in the middle, the meat and potatoes, was like, all right. This is...
What was the last it's such a dominant performance by Freddie Freeman? What was the last time someone just did that?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fair.
He said, hey, Ohtani's like, hey, this is my first World Series. Freddie Freeman's like, that's cool. Let me just go ahead and dominate.
Yeah.
Just move, step aside, young man.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the fact that, from the very beginning, you actually knew that Freddie Freeman was going to be the World Series MVP?
Yeah, well, you hit the
That was a long
first
shot.
ever walk-off grand slam in World Series history. I think you've got a pretty good shoe-in from Game 1.
Yeah.
But then the fact that he continued that performance throughout the series. And another guy you mentioned last week, Tommy Edman, had a great series as well. He was basically a 2-hit-per-game player. I mean, that's phenomenal to be doing in the playoffs, let alone at the MLB level.
And not really doing anything much during the season.
Who's making moves at the trade deadline does things well.
Wow.
Tommy Edman.
Nobody in
Michael Kopech.
Chicago would understand that concept. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that actually hurts because Chicago Cubs, were you paying attention? What? No? Oh, okay.
I know the
Anyway.
White Sox aren't listening.
No, the White Sox aren't listening.
I'm not even going to try to reach out.
Although we'll get into it shortly about the White Sox and everything because I'm actually kind of happy with some of the stuff. For the White Sox, I know you probably are a little bit more excited about that, and Nick probably is too.
I'm indifferent at the moment.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a show me what you've done lately type of relationship here. It's a I won't believe it till I see it type of
Fair enough.
dynamic.
Fair
So,
enough.
Yeah.
But before we move on to anything else, why don't we talk about that Mookie Betts incident with the fan? We've got a few clips here, so why don't we play that first one?
Not afraid to throw. Wide to right by Torres. Betts in the corner. Does he have room? Fights with the fan. And they're going to say that it's an out and fan interference. So an out, one gone in this first. And yeah, Betts has that ball in his glove, and this fan literally tries to take his glove off. Pries the ball out of there. A for effort. Well, he won't be watching the game much longer.
And that was courtesy of Fox with Joe Davis and John Smoltz on the call. So, yeah, quite literally, the ball is hit near the sidewall there in Yankee Stadium. And Mookie Betts gets the ball, catches the ball. What happens after that? A couple of fans try to literally rip the glove off of Mookie Betts' hand. Then they tried to restrain him by grabbing his other hand. And quite honestly, it looked like both of these fans, and I'm using it very loosely, were trying to do much bodily harm to Mookie Betts.
Well, I don't know if you heard some of the. I'm not going to name this guy by name. I don't think he deserves that kind of spotlight that he has now gotten throughout the week from Barstool Sports and all these other companies that want to interview him now.
No, he's a jackwagon.
We were talking during the intermission here, and we were talking about the comparison between him and Steve Bartman. Steve Bartman was basically put into witness protection because of the fact that people wanted to rip his head off for accident. He didn't mean to interfere there. The ball was just coming towards him, and it was a natural reaction that, I got to catch this, right? And also,
But at the same time, it's
he
also
did reach out. But these guys, not only did they not reach out, Mookie Betts is reaching into the stands, but you heard this guy afterwards say, we have to D up on the wall, meaning we have to play defense. That's
sure.
What? The ball is already in Mookie Betts' glove. you're literally prying his glove open.
Ball pops out.
And you're ripping the ball out. Like, that's...
And then the other guy is actually trying to, what looked like trying to break Mookie Betts' arm.
Imagine if he had injured Betts by like, snapping his wrist or even just kind of like grabbing it too hard. I mean, what do you do then? Like, that's one of your star outfielders for the Dodgers. You're in the World Series. If he goes down for the count, sure, you can kick the fans out. I'm sure they're ejected right after that and banned from all 30 MLB parks. But what penalty do the Yankees get? I mean, it's kind of not fair to penalize the Yankees, but now the Dodgers would have been short in this scenario. They weren't, but they would have been short a bat in the lineup and a phenomenal outfielder.
Yeah. And
how do you compensate that?
Well, the Yankees banned those two guys for apparently life for crossing the line, quote unquote.
Any saving grace of them giving their tickets to the cancer patient and their family?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I did hear they were season ticket holders and they had been to every Yankee playoff game and stuff. Well, all good things come to an end, I guess, when you do something that stupid. But I don't mean to generalize or criticize an entire fan base. But I mean,
you do.
The talk of this past week has been, well, typical Yankee fans, because they are a rowdy bunch. And there's been some fun videos that have come out before of them yelling at outfielders and whatnot. But there are some really ignorant New Yorkers when it comes to Yankees fans. It carries over into Rangers fans. There was an incident in the playoffs a couple years ago where they flat out sucker punched a Lightning fan just because they had lost the game at Madison Square Garden to the away team. And that's not that fan's fault, but why are you taking out like actual violence against the fans? And this time it's basically assault and battery against for an opposing player, not even just a fan anymore. That's unacceptable.
And the one thing that I will say, in Bartman's case and as opposed to this case in the Bronx, is the fact that Bartman was wearing a Cubs jersey. It was Moises Alou, trying to catch the ball and everything.
Yeah,
but
so friendly fire in a way.
Kind of friendly fire. But that's also trying to know the situation as a fan, going in there as an educated fan. Hey, your team is on defense. There's a fly ball that could potentially, turn the game, catch the ball, make an out, whatever. The coinciding plays don't happen. And, hey, get away. Everyone get away. Let Alou catch the ball.
Right.
But then you also had other 10 or 15 fans around Bartman going for the same ball.
Yeah.
So,
if any one of them had caught it, it would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
He had the Walkman on, so I don't know if that played into it too. But I mean, you're not listening to your surroundings around you. You're listening to the game being called, and there's probably a delay in your ear a little bit. So.
And at the time after the game, so Mookie Betts had was asked about this incident. So we'll go ahead and let you guys listen in.
It doesn't matter. Just how is that man feeling? Because it kind of looked like, from our perspective, that your wrist kind of went a little bit back.
No, I didn't even know he grabbed my hand, so no, it's perfectly fine.
Was that about as aggressive as you've seen fans in all your time in the game?
When it comes to the person in play, it doesn't matter. We lost. It's irrelevant. I'm fine. He's fine. Everything's cool. We lost the game, and that's what I'm kind of focused on. We got to turn the page and get ready for tomorrow.
And that was courtesy of Spectrum Sportsnet. So a relatively calm, cool, and collected Mookie Betts at that particular moment in time. And yeah, they did just lose the game. So I'm sure, being the competitor that Mookie Betts is, he was more pissed off about the game than potentially what had happened in the stands. But
it's a classy professional answer, though, to not go after that play and blame that. And he just kind of he took it on the chin and said, it was our fault that we lost the rest of the game. Right. Not to go back to 2003, but Moises Alou cried, and a lot of Cubs players and fans blamed the whole Bartman situation for them losing the entire game when there were still outs to be played in that inning, and there were still errors made other than just that play.
Right.
So it was a little bit different here, but Mookie Betts, really nice class act to say that, hey, at the end of the day, it didn't affect the outcome. And he's good. I found it interesting that he didn't realize that his wrist was grabbed. It was one of those high-intensity adrenaline situations that like you don't remember that something like that happening. But yeah, when you watch the replay, I mean, full-on grab of his wrist. And I mean, the other guy was prying his mitt open as if it almost looked like he was, it's what you do when you're trying to break the mitt in, A
little bit.
So it was, I don't, that's just insane.
What do you got, Nick?
Similar connection you also want to make to the 03 series, not just the cartoon of errors came not immediately after, but in Game 5 for the Yankees. So I thought that was just nice. Another connection you can make there.
That's true. I could break down that 2003 game so much because how many former Cubs were on that Marlins or soon to be Cubs were on that Marlins team at the time.
Yes. Shut up.
The coincidences are crazy. It's full circle, small world.
Yes. Yeah. I got your small world right here.
Speaking of small world.
No. Hold on.
We can't jump into White Sox yet.
No, not yet. I do have 2 more clips that we need to play, and this is Mookie's response after winning the World Series.
That ball that the fans tried to rub out of your glove. What's going on? What went through your head, man?
That was wild, man. That was really wild. I've never experienced anything like that. I was telling my wife, that was like the second time in my life I've ever wanted to fight someone. But I get it, man. I get it. I don't know if he was trying to get the ball. I don't know what he was really trying to do, but he had to do what he had to do, and it is what it is.
You're too nice. Because you're too nice, and I'm proud of you.
And that was courtesy of Fox. So that was Mookie Betts after they won the World Series, talking with David Ortiz.
I just love David Ortiz on the broadcast.
Yeah,
it just makes it so much more.
It's fun, but I mean, honestly,
how much fun he was having in between Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter, just just eating it up. He loved every second of it. My apologies for interrupting.
Oh no, that's cool. But I mean, there you got the honest reaction from Mookie Betts. I mean, and I don't think anyone would, really criticize him for, going off on the fan and potentially, kicking the shiatsu out of him.
Yeah.
I mean, but it could have turned really, really nasty. And what were you saying? Something about the Savannah something or other?
Oh, yeah. So the Savannah Bananas even came out. And if you're familiar with who the Savannah Bananas are, they're basically the Harlem Globetrotters of the baseball world now. They're the hot ticket these days. They travel around and they play a team called the Party Animals. And they make catches after doing flips, or they have incredible walk-up songs, and they break out into like a flash mob. And so they make baseball fun, I guess. Not that MLB baseball, especially playoffs, isn't fun. It's not fun here in Chicago, but it's fun elsewhere. But they're
even the umpires are fun.
Yeah, even the umpires get into it a little bit too. The ball boys. But the one thing is, if a fan catches a fly ball in the stands, so obviously it's going foul. If they catch that ball, it is counted as an out in Savannah Banana baseball. Now, the Savannah Bananas have even come out though on social media. I don't remember the exact player that gave the quote, but he was recapping this Mookie Betts incident, and he said that even in Savannah ball, that is not encouraged. Of course, they want the fans to be able to engage in the game and make the catch, but if a Savannah Banana player or a Party Animal player catches that ball, they don't want the fans to be going and ripping the ball out of their glove, touching the player, grabbing them by the wrist and all that. That's dangerous still.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it was a Steve Bartman situation in Savannah Banana ball, it's okay. He made the catch. That's an out. But in a Mookie Betts situation, you can't go and rip the ball out of a player's glove, even in that.
Yeah. Even after he caught it on the playing field, or in the realm of the playing field, and then traveled kind of like into the stands. I mean, yeah, that was, no.
I don't know what was
you said. It was like
though,
Yankees fans.
Was this play with Mookie Betts and the fan crazier than the Game 5 comeback that the Dodgers posted in New York?
That was a thing because the Yankees seemed to have Game 5 all wrapped up.
A 5-0
lead. And then they just imploded.
It was just gone. Was it the seventh inning? I got to double check my notes here.
No, it was the fifth inning.
Fifth inning.
It was the fifth inning. It started with Judge dropping what seemed to be an easy fly ball.
Routine.
You could see his eyes go to the runner from first base, and it caught the lip of the glove or the finger, very extreme end of the finger of the glove. Then you had that throwing error where Volpe spikes the ball, throwing it to the third baseman.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say about that play. He spiked the ball.
Yeah.
It's no, he wasn't trying to get it around the runner. He had a clear path to the third baseman to throw the ball. He just spiked the ball, plain and simple. Then you had that dribbler to Rizzo where you can say all you want to say about it, but he made the play. Rizzo made the play. You've got Garrett Cole coming off the mound on that, taking 2 or 3 steps towards first base, and then pointing to Rizzo to get to the first base.
Now, Garrett
Cole should be covering first base, and he stops, and he had a brain fart.
Yeah. You mentioned all of these incidents for the Yankees. They finished this game with 3 errors. 3 errors in a World Series game, especially a do-or-die World Series game for this Yankee squad on home turf. That can't happen. And we talked about the fact that it was all in the 5th inning. It really was. It was a 5-0 Yankee lead up until that 5th inning in which the Dodgers erased it completely, tied the game 5-5. You know just as well as I do, Derek, that something like that in an inning, especially when it starts out
with a
Judge missed fly ball, can really be a domino effect and can just steamroll and snowball.
And even after those first 2 errors from Judge and Volpe, Cole went ahead and struck out the next 2 batters.
Yeah,
which made it even more dire when he didn't cover first base.
Yep.
Or Rizzo didn't charge.
Could have been out of the inning.
Even still, if Rizzo charges the ball, Cole covers first base. Okay, the distance between the two, closes. So therefore, it's an easier play. And you always have the 100% on in the playoffs. Mookie Betts up to bat on that play where Cole doesn't cover first base. You think Mookie Betts is not hustling down to first base?
Oh.
No, he was busting his arse to get there.
He's one of the fastest guys on that team. Of course he's going to be running at full speed to get there. It's the World Series.
And then, well, it wasn't in this inning, but you had the MVP come up to bat and drive in his 12th run of the World Series. So why don't we hear about Mr. Freeman?
Freddie Freeman, he's been dealing with that wonky ankle. He did say that he was 100% good to go for Game 1.
He's the most important position player for the Dodgers. The experience, everything.
Number 5, Freddie Freeman.
Freeman's in the third. Oh, you talk about testing the ankle in a big way. A base hit turns into 3. And the bases will be loaded here for Freddie Freeman with the Dodgers down 3-2 and down to their last out in Game 1. Hits the ball to right field. She is gone!
Might be the greatest baseball moment I've ever witnessed.
We're all set for Game 2 at Dodger Stadium. Here comes the hero, Freddie Freeman. This ball, right field. He's found the seats again.
Freddie Freeman got a fastball, and he hit the tar out of it.
Not a bad start for a guy that's working with one good ankle.
Game 3 just underway. It is a fastball. It's ripped down the line. It is gone. A 5th consecutive World Series game with a Freddie Freeman home run. Incredible. Had not homered in more than a month, and he's homered in all 3 games.
Dodgers go on to win the World Series. Freddie Freeman's remembered forever.
That ankle has healed up. He's homered in every game in this World Series and has the Dodgers 1 win from a championship. And hit to right field. And gone again. 4 games, 4 home runs. Simply unstoppable. The easiest MVP vote you've ever seen in your life. Another little page to this legend of Freddie Freeman. Legging out of fielder's choice here. So now Freddie the tying run at the plate. 2 outs in the 5th. Freddie Freeman on 1-2. Into center field, a base hit. 2 more runs will score. And guess who? It's Freddie Freeman right in the middle of it. Now 12 runs driven in 5 games in this Fall Classic for the ages. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
They've done it. They've finished the job. And give Los Angeles the parade it's been waiting for. Grown men, but children again, living out their dream.
There's your likely MVP, Freddie Freeman, who homers in the first 4 games.
This is the Willie Mays Most Valuable Player Award presented by Chevrolet. Freddie Freeman, it's all yours.
And that clip was courtesy of MLB.com. So Freddie Freeman gets the MVP for the World Series, which is, I mean, you heard it. You absolutely heard like why he got the MVP for that. And once again, that was courtesy of MLB.com. I mean, he hit 300. He had 4 home runs.
12 RBIs in the World Series.
12 RBIs, and 1 triple.
You heard in that clip, he had been cold. He hadn't had a home run. And then he homered in 5 straight games.
No.
Going into the World Series.
No, he homered in 4 straight World Series games. It was 5 going back.
Right, going back to the NLDS, yeah. Or
no.
LCS.
Going back to the last time that he was actually in the World Series. When he was on
that's
Atlanta.
What that stat was.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what that stat was.
I didn't go back and check the CS numbers, but I thought that it was that last game against the Padres. It's so long ago now. Yeah, who'd they play? Or no, the Mets.
Yeah, they played. Yeah, so I mean, there was that, but I mean, geez, talk about solidifying yourself as probably one of the all-time players.
He is a beast.
I mean, yeah. So
what's even nicer is when you hear about all the stuff that was going on with his son, Max Freeman.
Okay.
And all the hospital visits that they were having to do because he has a rare brain disease, and so he's having to learn how to do practically everything again. So Freddie Freeman got emotional about it, and for that family to now have a second World Series ring and a second title, and for his son to be doing better, that's the best part of it.
Yeah, that just goes to show you like the mental capacity that Freeman actually has, because I mean, in order to perform as well as he did in that World Series, he definitely needed to compartmentalize what was going on. And I mean, there's no bigger stage than the World Series.
Nope.
And especially when you're going and dealing with the life-threatening things that his son's going through. I mean, I know emotionally I would be a wreck. I mean, I was a wreck when my dad was going through it. So, and I'm nowhere near the athlete that Mr. Freeman is. I'm going to call him Mr. because I mean, geez, those stats are insane.
Yeah.
But you are currently listening to AM 1410 WRMN on the Rise. I am Derek Geyer, alongside your host Mike Napolitano. No, Nick Johnson is on the board. That's Mike. That's Nick. I know my guys, apparently. And we will be coming back and most likely talking some hockey.
Hockey, baby.
And then at the bottom of the hour, Nick Johnson and fantasy sports.
This summer, get outside and enjoy a quick round of golf at the Twin Lakes Golf Course in Palatine. Twin Lakes features an executive 9-hole golf course with a driving range, cafe, and pro shop. Just starting the game, lessons are available. Take a couple of hours for yourself and stop at the Twin Lakes Rec area off Northwest Highway and hit the links. For a tee time, call 847-934-6050.
Beef Villa's 3 locations offer much more than their signature Italian beef. Try the Italian sausage, roasted chicken, and more. There's a big variety of delicious side dishes. Beef Villa uses quality ingredients from homemade recipes, and they purchase top-of-the-quality food products from their vendors to bring you the absolute best tasting of foods. Beef Villa's great service and quality are waiting for you, but you won't be waiting long because it's always hot and fresh. Visit beefvilla.com.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 9 o'clock.
welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. I'm your host, Eric Geyer, alongside Mike Napolitano, and on the board, Nick Johnston. So, what do you want to talk about, Mike?
Well, before we jump right into our hockey talk, because it has not been favorable for Chicago in this last week, we want to talk about possibly some good news. Tuesday night, before the World Series was even finished, the White Sox announced that they have named their 44th manager in franchise history in Will Venable. Now, if you are not familiar with the name, Venable was a coach and manager with the Texas Rangers last year and the year before that,
under
this
Bruce
past season.
Bochy.
Right, and of course, winning a ring with the Rangers last year. But Chicago fans may remember the name because he was a coach with the Chicago Cubs from 2018 to 2020. He was a first base coach, and he was also an advisor, an assistant to Cubs president Theo Epstein. Also a first base coach. His brother, you may recognize that name, Winston Venable, played 1 year with the Bears in 2011.
The Bears.
And not really a long stint in the NFL. It was really it. And then he went to the CFL. But Will, the baseball player, he played for the San Diego Padres from 2008 to 2015, Texas Rangers in 2015, and the Los Angeles Dodgers in 2016. So I am, as we talked about earlier, I am a what have you done for me lately type of fan with this White Sox team right now. Show me that you can do this, because with how abysmal of a season the White Sox just had.
That's a good
word.
word.
What was that stat you had brought up, Nick, while we were in the break?
Even if they add 20 more wins to this season, they will still be a 100-loss team.
20 wins.
Ruh-roh.
The White Sox couldn't even sniff 5 more wins if they wanted to, let alone 20. So, yeah, when you put it in those terms, how Nick phrased it, that is just, that's a realization right there for sure.
I just want to know, how did Chris Getz, for lack of a better word, trick him into accepting this job? How did he do it?
Well, maybe he promised that he would be getting rid of Yoán Moncada, because the next day it was announced that the White Sox have not picked up the final year, the option of Yoán Moncada's contract. It was a club option. They also decided to do the same with catcher Max Stassi as well. I had a couple Moncada notes for you.
So addition by subtraction.
Yes. Moncada's injuries have limited his playing time and prevented him from performing at his best. From 2017 to 2021, he played in 86.1% of the White Sox games. But since 2021, he only played in 49.6% of White Sox games. When you look at his...
Over how many seasons?
Yeah. When the last 3 seasons, basically. When you look at his long list of injuries, you had an abductor strain back in April of 2024. He was on the 60-day injured list, but didn't come back for basically the whole rest of the season because of this. So, yeah, 60 days. I believe that. Then he had a back injury in 2023, which limited him to 92 games. And then he had a hamstring injury in 2022. That was in August, though, so the season was pretty much a wrap at that point. He also had a foot injury earlier that same season, a sinus infection from June 14th to the 16th in 2022, and then a bruised right hand against Minnesota on July 1st, also in 2022. He had a $25 million club option for 2025 with a $5 million buyout. So the White Sox will be, exercising that buyout just to get rid of them. In addition to his injury this past season, Moncada played 92 games in 2023 and was due to a back injury, and 104 games in 2022 while being limited by oblique, quad, and hamstring, as well as foot injuries. Now, those sound like big numbers, 104 and 92, but I think White Sox fans will tell you it felt like he was off the field a lot more than he was on the field. So, as Derek said, this is addition by subtraction. Thank goodness. Maybe this organization is starting to turn around.
Well,
I'll hold my breath.
I haven't the slightest idea, but I mean, Nick had said the whole. What'd you say, Nick? About the Will Venable hire and Chris Getz.
I just was wondering how he tricked him into doing it.
Well, I was also wondering how Chris Getz managed to trick his way into the front office.
That's a good point.
I mean,
being a yes man, just being on the right side.
Yeah, oof.
I don't know if 29 other teams would have given that same chance, despite being a yes man.
Well, it's kind of funny because Jerry wanted to hire Getz right away because he knew the organization and the operation. And reports had it that the White Sox actually had 60 different meetings with guys to bring in for their manager.
That was the humongous part. The first time in a long time, maybe ever, that White Sox fans have heard, "Hey, we're interviewing outside the four walls of the White Sox organization."
Yeah,
so it was good for them to get that sort of idea. Maybe even get an idea of like, "Hey, this is how other places run it. This is what other managers are looking at." So it was very, very optimistic. It was the first time in a long time. Maybe just brand new information for White Sox fans to hear. So
no, that's a good point. Friend of mine and fellow broadcaster Eric Willowhite had a good point that when the White Sox swept that final home stand against the Angels, that was going to be the push that the White Sox needed to say, see, Grady Sizemore is our guy, and we don't have to look outside of the organization, and we can just hire within, because that has been the mentality of this White Sox team from day one. Now, okay, even the manager in place before him, Pedro Grifol, was an outside hire. But really, was it though, when your entire team and your entire organization pulls from the Kansas City Royals, so you're basically the Chicago Kansas City Royals, the Chicago Royals, everybody in this organization practically, from Nicky Lopez to Chris Getz himself, has had some kind of connection basically to the Kansas City Royals. And then sure, let's hire their bench coach because he had success with them, and let's model our franchise after a small market team that hasn't won anything since 2015.
The best thing that I could potentially say about the hire of Will Venable, and this just popped into my head, is the fact that I did not hear word one about Tony La Russa being anywhere near this. So I don't. That in
I'm looking
it
up to the
itself.
Heavens. Thank you.
Seems to be
Thank you so much.
a little positivity right there.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I was just gonna say a lot of people are joking that he will be not Will Venable by the end of the year. He will be won't Venable.
People were calling for him in the social media groups, the social media White Sox groups. They were calling for his head the minute it was announced. So I'm really kind of, as I said, with this White Sox organization, it is a show me what you've done lately type of mentality. Yeah. But also, I am open to this more so than I think many others are, just because I don't know enough about Will Venable as a coach to really understand if this is a good move or not. So we shall see. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
To this White Sox discussion? Yeah. Not really.
As I asked the Cubs fan, Nick, did you have anything else that you wanted to?
No, just gonna be wait and see for sure. Just like you said, just can't jump on them too yet. Haven't seen any work just yet, so gotta see how the training wheels are.
Do we have anything going on in the chat yet? Anybody asking about the White Sox? Because I know we've had a couple of talks about baseball, but we're gonna switch it over into hockey now, and it's just as bleak these days as if we were talking White Sox, because the Blackhawks only won one game this past week. That was a game against the Colorado Avalanche on the road, which snapped their 4-game losing streak. 3 of those 4 games that they had lost were at home. We talked about that last week. But we left off with them going on the road to play last Saturday against the Dallas Stars, who were 4-0 at home at the time. They were 6-2-0 on the season. The Blackhawks were 2-5-1, but they were 1-3-1 on the road. So not a great road record, coming on the heels of that awful beginning of the season homestand. So the Blackhawks needed a win They did not get it. Evgeny Dadonov started off the scoring in the first. Jamie Benn doubled the lead for the Stars in the second. Matt Duchene tripled the lead on a power play, and it was 3-0 Dallas before the Blackhawks could even get on the board in the third. That was Ryan Donato. But then it was Connor Bedard getting his third goal of the season with a beautiful stretch pass assist from Pat Maroon. That's his third on the season. Nolan Allen picks up his second assist of his career. And the Blackhawks pull within one, but an empty netter at the end of the game from Matt Duchene. His second goal of the game, it seals the deal. Duchene's the first star of the game with 2 goals, and all 3 stars are stars. Matt Duchene, Miro Heiskanen, and Jamie Benn.
Ugly game.
Yeah, so 4-2 win for the Dallas Stars. The Blackhawks lose 4 straight. But then make it make sense. The Blackhawks go and get a win against the Colorado Avalanche.
I'm sorry, who?
The Colorado Avalanche.
Aren't they like one of the top teams in the league?
Yeah, I mean,
they somehow managed to get a win.
They were off to a rough start this year, and I know they are still battling a few injuries with some of their key players. But the fact that the Blackhawks marched into Mile High City, where it's already tough to play because of the lack of oxygen up there, they go in and they beat a tough Avalanche team. Philip Kurashev gets the Blackhawks on the board with a power play goal. Some other notable things: Lucas Reichel gets his first goal of the season, and then Ryan Donato gets 2 goals. That would be the third goal for the Blackhawks and the 4th goal, as that was an empty netter. They get a second empty netter from Ilya Mikheyev. That's his first of the season. And the Blackhawks shut down Nathan MacKinnon and the Avalanche. Well, no, they didn't shut down Nathan MacKinnon too much because he did get his 5th goal of the season on a power play, but it's not enough as the Blackhawks get a win. A win, guys.
What?
What is that? We don't know what that is here in Chicago. You're going to have to explain it to us.
Are they taking after the White Sox?
I think so, because they scared me more than anything else on Halloween as the Blackhawks lost to a Macklin Celebrini-less San Jose Sharks. The star player, the first overall selection, the former Chicago Steel player, Chicago Steel alumni, Macklin Celebrini, was injured to start. Well, he was injured when the Blackhawks faced the Sharks in their home opener. He was injured now that the Blackhawks moved their way into San Jose to play the Sharks for this one, and yet the Sharks still came out with the win. Can you, at home, name me 10, no, I'll make it easier, 5 players on the San Jose Sharks right now?
Antti Niemi.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Jumbo Joe Thornton.
That is how tough this Sharks team is. The Blackhawks, after this game, were 3-7-1. The Sharks, 3-7-2.
Sounds about right.
So, I mean, you may know your Blackhawks pretty well because we're here in Chicago. But do you know the Sharks? No, because there's not a whole lot to really write home about this team.
To be fair, they did come back against Utah. I think they were down 4-0 the other day.
The Sharks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They came back 1-5-4. So
a fire has been lit under this Sharks team a little bit, but man, without Celebrini and the Hawks still lose. Well, a lot of that was due to Will Smith, not the Will Smith that won the World Series.
Okay.
Did you know a Will Smith has won the World Series for 5 straight years? I saw that stat the other day. That's crazy. It's not the same Will Smith. There's multiple Will Smiths.
You're punking me right now, right?
In the league.
Wow.
There was a year, Nick, wasn't there, that both Will Smiths were in the World Series? I think it was it?
I believe so, yeah. I'm going to look it up really quick.
Because I know, there's obviously the Will Smith that plays for the Dodgers that just won a ring this year.
Yeah,
but then there was the Will Smith that played for the Braves, who was a pitcher.
Yeah.
And then I forget which one of them was also the same guy that played for the Houston Astros. So that's crazy.
We don't like that, Will Smith.
We're gonna get the stats. It's also not the walk up on stage and smack Chris Rock in the face, Will Smith.
I'm glad you said it because I was debating.
We're talking about
out your damn mouth.
We're not getting jiggy with it here on Saturday morning.
You were right. So Will Smith versus Will Smith happened when the Dodgers and the Braves were playing each other.
That's crazy.
So that happened not too long ago. I mean, that was in the NLCS. It would have to be, obviously. But yeah, Will Smith and the Dodgers, Will Smith on the Astros. Yeah, I'm still looking for the order.
This is a PSA to everybody out there. If your last name is Smith, please don't name your kid Will. There's so many of them already. Like, we got to have a little bit
or Joe
creativity here. Yeah, right, yeah. So this Will Smith, though, I actually am a fan of because his family has connections. I saw him get drafted in 2023.
Wait, what kind of connections are we talking about?
Whoa, not the Italian kind. Hold on.
Okay.
Although it might be.
Yeah.
Because he has connections. He grew up in Boston, so you would think he's a Red Sox fan. However, he has connections. His family is distantly related to the Comiskey family that used to own the White Sox. So he grew up as a White Sox fan. Poor guy. He grew up as a White Sox fan, and now he's on the Sharks. That's awful. That's so tough. And then growing up in Boston, I'm sure at some point he liked the Bruins. That's even worse. Maybe because of his Chicago connections, he likes the Blackhawks. Right now, that's a tough thing to do these days as I wear this sweatshirt. So, man, this kid, he is definitely not the Will Smith that can just walk up on stage at the Grammys or the Emmys or the something or other.
No, Oscars.
Oscars, that's what it is.
Yeah,
one of those.
the really big one.
Yeah, one of those.
What you got, Nick?
So we got Will Smith on the Dodgers 2020, Will Smith on the Braves 2021, 2022, Will Smith of the Astros, Will Smith from the Rangers 2023, and then back to Will Smith on the Dodgers 2024. So there you go. Put your fives up.
Was Will Smith on the Rangers? That's the same Will Smith that just won it this year, right?
No, same Will Smith that won it this year is the same Will Smith that won it 2020.
Okay.
So he was still on the Dodgers.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
What is your opinion about the whole 2020 World Series and the Dodgers winning? Just real quick.
Oh, I know.
Sorry.
I know. We talked about it a little bit last week. I was a little bit torn because I wanted the Dodgers to get revenge and get their ring because they were cheated out of theirs by the Astros. But at the same time, I was a fan of the Tampa Bay Rays, and I kind of wanted to see them win it. But I count it. It's a World Series.
This is the Dodgers' first win. This is the Dodgers' first World Series win in the modern era.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to sidetrack the hockey conversation.
No, that's fine. We'll get right back into it. We're going to breeze through some of this because it's not great. Will Smith, as we talked so much about already, is the gentleman who scored 2 goals against the Blackhawks on Halloween night. He got his tricks and his treats, and the Blackhawks tricked us fans into thinking we were going to get a treat that night as the Blackhawks fall 3-2 to the Sharks. Your 3 stars of the game, all Sharks. Will Smith with 2 goals. The rookie Mackenzie Blackwood, the rookie Will Smith, not Mackenzie Blackwood. Mackenzie Blackwood makes 27 saves, and Alex Wenberg had a goal as well. Ryan Donato and Tyler Bertuzzi scored for your Hawks in this one, but it just was not enough as they fall short on Halloween. Their upcoming schedule. The Blackhawks will stay out in Southern California tonight. Well, actually, this afternoon. I say tonight. It's today. A 3 p.m. game against the Los Angeles Kings. That's on ESPN+. Then tomorrow, Sunday.
Where you could actually watch the game.
Right. Tomorrow, Sunday, will be a 7 p.m. game against the Anaheim Ducks at the Honda Center.
Flying V?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wednesday is a big game. That is when the Detroit Red Wings
suck!
Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat come back to town. That one will be on TNT, True TV, and Max. You could stream it on there. So that'll be Kane's second return to Chicago. And then Thursday, the Blackhawks are back on the road again to face the Dallas Stars at 7 p.m. They just played the Dallas Stars on the road, who the Dallas Stars were undefeated at that time. I'll have to check to see if they still are by next Thursday, because that's not going to be great for the Blackhawks. So a tough schedule on the upcoming week for the Blackhawks, and it's not going to get much easier for their AHL affiliate. The Rockford IceHogs did get a win after we jumped off the mics last Saturday against the Manitoba Moose. That was a 5-3 victory. They had a lot of goals in this one, of course, for the Rockford IceHogs, as they posted 5. They go 1 for 2 on the power play. They get a goal from Gavin Hayes, Cole Gutman, Colton Dock, and Ryder Rolston, also Fitzgerald in here, but I just wanted to name the big names that many Blackhawks fans would know coming up. So that's good, but unfortunately they dropped the second game against the Manitoba Moose. That was a 3-1 victory for the Moose. Ice Hogs go 0 for 4 on the power play. They had 31 shots in total. Samuel Savoie is the only goal scorer for this Ice Hogs squad as they fall to 2-3-0-0. When we take a look at the standings, that puts the Rockford Ice Hogs in 5th. Of course, they've only played 5 games, and there's 67 remaining, but 4 points on the season. They're digging themselves quite the big hole right away. But then let's get into, they also had a game last night. That was the Rockford Ice Hogs and the Grand Rapids Griffins. Let me pull up the stats. I know we're doing this last minute here. I totally forgot they played last night, but with the way that their season has gone thus far, can you blame me for not getting ahead of these things? As I pull that up, let me just let you know about the promotions coming up. So we'll give you the future before we give you the past. November 2nd, that's today. It'll be a Sugar Skull bobblehead giveaway of Hammy, their mascot, the Ice Hog. And then, of course, today is Dia de los Muertos, so get on out there. November 8th is coming up as well. That is $2 beer and $2 soft drink night. So those are the upcoming promotions. Those games, so tonight is the first Ice Hogs versus Wolves matchup of the season.
Did you say Wolves?
Wolves, I did.
Oh!
There you go.
Not as enthusiastic.
Yes, Ice Hogs and Wolves tonight. First one of the season that is up at the BMO Center in Rockford. Next Friday will be Rockford versus Grand Rapids at home at 7 p.m. And next Saturday, but we'll be on the mic before that, it'll be Rockford versus Iowa at 7 p.m. at home as well. Now, when we talk about Wolves, well, actually, before I even jump into that, let me give you that final game that was Ice Hogs and Grand Rapids Griffins. That that was a 4-1 victory for the Ice Hogs. Wow, a win against the team at the top of the standings there. The Ice Hogs are now 3-3-0-0. They got goals in this one from Frank Nazar, Gavin Hayes, Landon Slaggert, and Colton Dock. So a lot of big names that could be in the Blackhawks' future. They were the 3 stars of the game. That's Colton Dock, Gavin Hayes, and Frank Nazar. Slaggert, the only goal scorer that didn't factor into that one. So a great showing from this Ice Hogs team to get the win on the road. But then they'll have to play Grand Rapids again at home next week. That'll be tough. Let's get into the Wolves as Derek Howells, because it was the Halloween game last Saturday.
See what they did there?
But the scariest thing about this one was the stat sheet. Oof, 5-1 victory for the Milwaukee Admirals. But it gets worse. The Chicago Wolves go 0 for 4 on the power play with 33 shots compared to the Admirals' 20. Yikes. Joakim Ryan is the only goal scorer in this game. And then the Wolves followed that up with a 3-2 loss on Tuesday, the 11 a.m. school day game. They go 0 for 2 on the power play in that game, only 18 shots in that game compared to the Wild's 26. And it's Ryan Sandelin that gets the lone goal for the Wolves in that one. So not a great week for the Wolves. As I said, tonight they'll be playing Rockford in Rockford at 7 p.m. Next Saturday, the Wolves will be up at UW Milwaukee Panther Arena at 6 p.m. to face the Milwaukee Admirals again. So it's not going to get easier for this Wolves schedule. And then they play the Milwaukee Admirals on Sunday at home at 3 p.m. That's a family Sunday presented by Scott Credit Union. So a lot of hockey this next week. A little bit of Ice Hogs versus Wolves rivalry, and we'll be able to cover that for you next week. Hopefully we get a win from the Blackhawks by next week, Derek. I can't do this anymore.
Hopefully that'll happen. And as we go into our bottom of the hour break, you are listening to AM 1410 WRMN. I'm Derek. That's Mike. Nick is on the board. We will have a special Fight Night announcement when we come back. Also, we will have Nick Johnston in studio, as we've been saying all along, on the board, and we will be talking fantasy sports. And then at the top of the hour, Marcus Mack and the truth about Chicago sports.
WRMN says thank you to all of our local veterans, like Jerry Christofferson of True Patriots Care.
We had the 1,700 flags up across from the wall. That's how many POWs and MIAs from Vietnam are still missing. Plus, we do veterans and first responders funerals.
Yeah.
And so if you ever drive by a funeral home or a church or a cemetery and you see the flags, you know a soldier died today.
Go to TruePatriotsCare.com for more information. And veterans, thank you for your service to our country.
Welcome to the brand new Avid Hotel, Wisconsin Dells Lake Delton, where the essentials are done right every time, all while in the water park capital of the world. Make a splash at Noah's Ark, America's largest water park, or at the Land of Natura, Wisconsin Dells Natural Water Park experience. Family fun at Knucklehead's Trampoline Park, and enjoy train-delivered food at Buffalo Phil's Pizza and Grill. Start your day with our free all-around breakfast featuring rotating hot items and freshly ground premium coffee right here in the lobby, and a 24/7 fitness center. The new Avid Hotel, 1273 Kalahari Drive, Wisconsin Dells. Call us at 608-404-7600 to book your next getaway. 608-404-7600. Once again, that's 608-404-7600.
Beef Villa's 3 locations offer much more than their signature Italian beef. Try the Italian sausage, roasted chicken, and more. There's a big variety of delicious side dishes. Beef Villa uses quality ingredients from homemade recipes, and they purchase top-of-the-quality food products from their vendors to bring you the absolute best tasting of foods. Beef Villa's great service and quality are waiting for you, but you won't be waiting long because it's always hot and fresh. Visit beefvilla.com.
If your idea of therapy involves a fishing rod, a tree stand, or a campfire, then you need American Outdoors Radio. Host John Cruz speaks your language, whether it's about the best lures, tracking game, or that one buddy who always forgets to bring the beer. John's got the tips to sharpen your aim, the hacks to pack lighter, and the stories to keep you entertained. Again, that's American Outdoor Radio with John Cruz. Saturdays at 7 a.m. on WRMN 1410. Or stream it at WRMN1410.com. Get ready to outfish, outhunt, and outcamp them all on American Outdoor Radio with John Cruz. American Legion Post 57 in Elgin, Illinois presents Legion Cruise Nights. Wednesdays, May 8th, June 12th, July 10th, August 14th, and September 11th from 5 to 8 p.m. Come out and enjoy a great evening of cars, food, and music. Motorcycles, cars, trucks, military vehicles are all welcome. 50-50 raffles, door prizes. The event being sponsored by the American Legion Riders Post 57, 820 North Liberty Street in Elgin, Illinois.
Anderson Japanese Gardens, ranked the highest quality Japanese garden in North America and located right in the heart of Rockford. Their mission is to open minds to a different culture while offering a place of peace and tranquility where one can find healing, renewal, inspiration, and a re-energized soul. A premier destination for corporate functions, special events, weddings, and receptions. For directions, hours, and fees, visit andersongarden.org today.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. I'm your host, Derek Geyer, alongside Mike Napolitano. And on the board, Nick Johnston, also on camera, as we are doing live on WRMN YouTube 1410. But before we get to Nick and the fantasy sports, I just wanted to throw out a little thing because, friend of the show and host of The Parlay, alongside 15-year NBA veteran Kendall Gill, they will be having, or they are both hosts of The Parlay, which is a boxing podcast. So Kendall Gill does the pregame, postgame for the Chicago Bulls on CHSN Tilo is the co-host with that. But they are having a watch party for the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. That was originally supposed to be scheduled back in July, but they are scheduled for 2 weeks from yesterday, November 15th, starting at 7 p.m. They will be actually holding a watch party at the Village Roadhouse in Skokie, which is 7070 Carpenter Road, Skokie, Illinois. So if you want to hang out with an NBA legend, a guy that is on television covering your Chicago Bulls.
And a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He is a nice guy.
Pops in sometimes over at Windy City. He'll do play-by-play. Or color commentary, excuse me.
All around the board. Everyone knows KG, Kendall Gill. So he will be there. I'm sure he would be, well, I don't want to talk for him, but he does take pictures and everything. He's very friendly with the fans and everything. But we got Nick Johnson in the studio, live and in person. Yeah. How the hell are you doing, Nick?
Yeah, tough to follow up when you're talking up Kendall Gill, and here's Nick.
Oh, no. You are a star in my eyes, Mr. Johnson.
I appreciate that. No,
Johnston.
Yeah, it's just
how much are you paying him, Nick?
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all. About as much as we're making right here for this. That's okay. We're getting reps. We're getting all that we need, honestly. Another solid day, fantasy-wise, getting set up for tomorrow. We got a nice little game on Thursday, so it's looking nice, looking good. Honestly, it's weird that we're halfway through the season now, essentially. Yeah. It's crazy how time flies.
So what were your thoughts on that Thursday night game?
Thursday night actually wasn't as big of a stinker as it was. The first half was, questionable, 7-0 at halftime, but picked up a little bit. The highlight for sure, without a doubt, is Garrett Wilson having himself a nice little day, having possibly comparing that catch to the Odell Beckham Jr. catch. I might say it's up there in contention, but Odell, that catch is just that's in and of itself. That's just 1-1 by itself, honestly. But that crazy Garrett Wilson catch that was confirmed, just having his shin down, absolutely amazing. He had a nice day. 9 for 90 and 2 touchdowns, I believe, on the day for Garrett Wilson. Yes, and also Devontae Adams, newest acquisition there, 7 for 91. He had a 37-yard touchdown to solidify that the Jets were going to go ahead and get that win. So you can see 1-2 punch right there, wide receiver-wise. Not going to be an issue for either one of them with this Devontae Adams acquisition, especially now with Allen Lazard going on the IR. You can see that it's going to be them two. It's going to be them two from there on out.
And Aaron actually played decently in the second half.
Yeah, had himself a big second half. It was that whole honestly the big question for the Jets and everyone that came out. Jeff. The new head coach coming in there, Jeff Ulreich. It doesn't matter.
It's the Jets. We don't.
Yes, but he said, they kind of just all came around in the second half in the locker room. It was a big speech, but I wish it was maybe a little bit more production out of Breece Hall. I don't think that's not cause for concern. He was at 74 yards on the ground. Just a couple more receptions would have been nice and maybe a score, but they want to give Braylon Allen touches for whatever odd reason. I think the other big one was Malachi Corley. Man, on that end around, it's a lesson to everybody, and had to have everyone screaming. He's probably not on anyone's fantasy teams, but for people that might be gambling, if he had a first touchdown there, that's a tough one. Malachi Corley, of course, if you saw, just right at the goal line, just toss the ball right at the end. Like, come on, you got to finish the play. You got to score before you celebrate.
Are you kidding me? It was like another one of those, just like...
It happened again. It happened, 2 weeks ago to Kyle Pitts? Guys, you got to cross the goal line.
How does that even happen?
Yeah, I don't. Again, just they get too
You've been playing
excited.
Football all your life. Hey, there's the end zone. You need to go another foot.
Yeah.
Get the ball over the end zone, then you can chuck it.
I always think about Happy Gilmore. Go to your home. Go home.
Go home.
Get in your home. That's what it's supposed to be. But no, they, like I said, a little too excited, a little too amped up. At the time, it was like, oh no, they were down 7-0. It could have been a tie ball game, but no, it didn't end up biting them in the end because the Houston Texans offensive line just. They did the Jets. They played as the role as the Jets that day. They jetted more than the Jets did. So
And that's saying something because the Jets usually jet pretty good.
Oh, yes, they do. They wanted to, but they just couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
The Texans were out jetting them, like we mentioned. C.J. Stroud sacked 8 times. 8 times. He's as I did draft him earlier this year. I'm looking at honestly dropping him. Even just putting him on some sort. He has not been that good since Nico Collins has left out. Tank Dell has now become, he was the tertiary guy. He's now become the starter, the number 1 guy with Stephon Diggs tearing his ACL. He will be out the remainder of the season. The very unfortunate situation there. Nico Collins has been banged up, should be on the way back soon. His 4-week stint on the IR should be coming up just about now. But yeah, that's been the big question mark. C.J. Stroud's production has just plummeted. Hasn't been the same. He's only had really one standout game. So honestly, I'm looking at him. I see him as a guy that's droppable because there's another couple of other string starts you can put together. I mean, with Matthew Stafford getting his weapons back, he's worth a look. With Sam Darnold getting another weapon back, he could potentially be looking at again throwing to potentially one of the greatest wide receivers in the game. It helps a ton. So Sam Darnold again could be a nice addition. But yeah, again, just looking around, that was other than really Joe Mixon on the Texans side of things. Tank Dell had a good game too. But nothing really going for them. So it's almost break glass in that case in some sense. You're gonna have to be mindful. You're gonna have to watch C.J. Stroud for a little bit.
And after we talked about this in the first hour of the show. After that horrendous, first half, 3/4 of the game for the Chicago Bears, is there anything redeeming about the Chicago Bears?
Oh, of course. It was a tough game for sure, but you saw stints where, DeAndre Swift's still viable, still an option there. Caleb did not have a good game at all, so it's going to be, I'm not going to sit here and be the one to say, that's a little bit.
He had a good fourth quarter when he had to turn it on, but it was not consistent.
Definitely nothing fantasy points wise.
No, this week could be a little bit different. Either playing the Cardinals. Some are predicting a high scoring affair. I think that could be the case. They're in Arizona. I feel like just when you get over there, it feels like just a little bit faster. I don't know what it is around there. Maybe it's just maybe it's the dry desert air that gets you going.
Road runners.
That turf, I've been to that stadium just for
one of the newer stadiums.
That turf is actually one of few in the world that is a full rollout.
Oh yeah,
turf,
that's right.
And then they're able to bring it outside so it gets the proper amount of sunlight, proper amount of watering, and then they roll it back in.
Nice.
Could be something to do with the turf. I know. Was it just a couple years ago that the Super Bowl was held there, and then they were having issues with how the turf was?
Yeah, that's always an issue when it comes to this. Of course, obviously Thursday night playing at MetLife, some people say that's the worst stadium to play at ever. So it was a lot of concerns there. Glad a lot of people were able to get out there unscathed. So that was nice to see. But honestly, not the worst place to play in Arizona. Honestly, might be a lot of Chicagoans out there. That's like besides some Florida, that's the other hot spot for Chicagoans to go ahead and retire because just sick of the cold.
Yep, retirement capital of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to DeAndre Swift, I mean. Since week 4, he has had the second most yards in the league from scrimmage with 533 yards. So that's not bad. And you saw, 56 or some odd yards, break it off for a touchdown last week to provide the touchdown, only touchdown in the first 3 quarters. And he's only behind Derrick Henry. And that was, brought to you by Marquee Bears on X. So, the Bears report on the Marquee Network.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, that's a solid stat right there. He's been for sure been the Bears' workhorse. I would love to see if he can get. It would have been better if he got the goal line touch instead of Kramer. But again, that is what it is. I think better coaching decisions will be made.
Okay.
That was of course the biggest thing. Wow, could have taken a timeout here, could have taken a timeout there. It was just the boneheaded decisions for sure on that side, but. If we're going to be optimistic about last week, I would just say, hey, Bears defense held a top scoring offense to under 20 points.
Well, they did a hell of a job, that's for sure. I mean, only 4 field goals.
Yeah, exactly.
Bend, not break.
Yeah. If I want to be optimistic, glass half full, that's what I was focusing on.
Gotcha.
But, Yeah, no, again, you can still, you would hope DJ Moore is going to turn it on this week for sure. I think
hopefully they find Komet.
Yeah. There's a ton of options in that game all across the board. James Conner, again, going against the Bears defense has been allowing a lot of rushing. You could play James Conner, Kyler Murray. Again, as the Bears guy, I'll be like, maybe don't play him, but he's going to always has the rushing upside. He broke off for 40 yards and a 40-yard touchdown against the Chargers 2-3 weeks ago now. So again, that's always an option there, and playing some really good ball with Marvin Harrison Jr. So that's been nice to see, to have him there, open up the game. Trey McBride healthy, so a lot of healthy guys in this game. A lot of names that are worth a shot right there in your starting lineup. But
so as you have mentioned, we're like halfway through the season,
yes,
or almost halfway through the season. What have been some of the bigger surprises for you?
Man, that's a good one, honestly. Maybe just how consistent Kyron Williams is just going crazy.
Okay.
He scored every single time this year. He's definitely, without a doubt, Workhorse is putting it lightly for him. That he has been the dog for them for sure. In where everyone's been hurt, and now everyone's coming back. Cooper Kupp coming back. Puka Nacua came back and then got hurt, and then it's up in the air. So gotta see how that plays out. But when the weapons are back in Puka and Cooper Kupp, that allows Matthew Stafford to be a viable option, like I mentioned earlier. If you're looking for a spot start and a quarterback, I would definitely look his way. Like I said, he was able to. He was in the middle of kind of drowning and kind of keeping his feet up there and paddling and swimming. But now I think he can actually stay afloat with these two guys, with these two options. And if you're really, really stretching, maybe Demarcus Robinson for a flex option. But like I said, a lot of eyeballs will be on Puka and Cooper Kupp, and maybe, like I said, Demarcus Robinson if Nacua can't go. So. Like that for sure. Another welcome back. This might be the welcome back section right here. Welcome back, TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson finally off of IR, not having an injury designation this week from the Vikings organization. So that's been awesome to see. We know he tore his ACL week 10 of last year, I believe. So makes sense coming back week 9, week 10. So a nice spot for him. I'm not going to sit here and hammer it. You need to play him. But again, in the tight end realm where it is running thin, I'm not going to say he must start, but I'm going to say if you start him, that'll be good for you. No report of him having any sort of snap count or any sort of pitch count exactly on there limiting him. So it should be good. Again, with him playing Sunday night against the Colts defense. Not the best, so you could definitely get him in there for a spot start for sure. TJ Hawkinson looking to maybe making to make some waves there, and then welcome back once again, Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, welcome back to the starting lineup because Anthony Richardson, he needed a break.
Sucks.
That might be true. He needed a break. Well, now you're gonna get your break there, kiddo. You're gonna be benched for some time. That was one of the craziest statements I think I've heard in a long time. Just straight up, I just needed a break out there, coach. I needed a breather. Like, bro, in my mind, if I haven't played in some time, if one of my teammates, if my quarterback, let alone, said that, I'd be like, okay, cool. So we can just give up. We're allowed to give up. That's what we're basically allowed to do here. So. I wasn't a big fan of that. Crazy to see that.
I did not know that one.
But I'm a huge fan of Joe Flacco getting in there because, while Michael Pittman Jr. hasn't been the best, it also opens it up for Joshua Downs. Excuse me, it was blanking me for a second there, but he's become a solid flex start, maybe even a low end wide receiver 2 option in some ways.
Okay,
he's been opening up. I believe he's had, besides 1.9 game, he's had a 15-point game. He's had a 20-point game. He's had some solid starts as of late. So good to see him in there. Good to see him back. And on top of it, one more addition to the Colts offense. Welcome back, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor back from his, not an IR stint. Could have been on IR. I think he was out for 4 weeks, but they're like, nah, he's good to go. He'll be fine. So if you're a manager like myself, you just had to deal with that out instead of being able to put him in an IR spot and add another roster move. But that's okay. Jonathan Taylor leading the way. He's been one of the most dominant backs the past couple of years. You're going to go ahead and put him in the lineup. It sounds like he's healthy and ready to roll. So love to see that.
I do have a question about the Detroit and Green Bay Packers game.
Yes, a humongous game. This might be the game of the week.
Now, Jordan Love ruled out for this game?
I don't believe so. I think he might be a game time decision.
Okay, game time decision. Ooh, that would really suck if you did not know if Jordan Love was going to be playing or not. Because then, my question was, I thought he was out. I did not get any of the, updates or whatever on Love. But I was kind of wondering about his backup, Malik Willis.
So Malik Willis last week we saw, even before that we saw him a couple times already this year.
Right, and he did pretty good.
Yeah, Jordan Love left the game last week with a groin injury, if I'm not mistaken. Tried to make a return, but just was limping around, couldn't get it done. So able to get in there and just finish the job off was Malik Willis. But again, we saw when Malik Willis is in, that's Josh Jacobs' time.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs will end up getting the ball 30 to 35 times on the ground.
Okay.
He just had one of his bigger games, not just in the season, just of his career not too long ago. So nice acquisition there. That would be my only drawback. While Malik Willis, him being in there helps Josh Jacobs, takes away from the receivers. I'm not, hands off. You can't play any of the receivers, but I'm going to be a little bit mindful. I'm not going to be jumping up and down to play Romeo Doubs this week. I'll still play Jaden Reed. I'll still look at Tucker Kraft to get in at the tight end position, who's, again, 3 touchdowns in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So solid right there when you're looking for tight end ads and points right there. But yeah, just being mindful, looking around to see.
And then anyone on Detroit, play them all.
Yes,
pretty much, because they basically put up 40 points the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, they're absolutely rolling.
You get a touchdown, you get a carry. Oh, sorry, doing my very bad Oprah impersonation.
Yeah, some people are just very upset. They're like, if Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, if one of them just got all the looks, he would be maybe be the new LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah,
they would be the RB1. They would just be fantasy football player number 1. It's
fantasy football
crazy.
god.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
This would be absolutely insane. Just to go back really quickly on Jordan Love.
Sure.
Officially just marked as questionable, so it looks like he will be a game time decision for the 3:25 Central start for the Packers and the Lions. Again, that's huge for us in the division as Bears fans. That's huge for just all around as you got a 6-1 team and a 6-2 team playing up against each other. That's gonna be a fun matchup all the way around. So like I said, I'll back away from the Green Bay receivers for the most part. Everybody else might be a good go ahead and play. So.
Okay, and what would be one of the surprises going for this week?
Well, actually, not a huge surprise, but someone that I was looking at to see how healthy wise, maybe if we can get some touches. I think the new starter in New York for the Giants is Tyrone Tracy Jr. Looking like he's going to clear concussion protocol. If we saw again, I feel like it would make a reference to that New York Giants Hard Knocks every single time I'm here. We see the replacement in Devin Singletary from Saquon Barkley is now being replaced by this guy who. Brand new to the team, also basically brand new to the position. He said that this is his only second year playing running back, which I was trying to find out what other position he was looking at. He might have been a wide receiver somewhere, but if this is his second year ever playing running back, and you're at the NFL level, you were just a freak athlete that is absolutely insane. And tip my cap to you, sir. That's absolutely just fantastic. So Tyrone Tracy, I don't want to jump the gun. Some are already labeling him as maybe even a league winner. He's got some pop. He's got a lot of he bursted off for a 45-yard touchdown last week. So you see the potential. It's just the only thing holding him back, is the fact that he's a New York Giant. As being on that offense is absolutely just atrocious. It's been tough to move the ball. They've been in some games, but you're just sitting there like, it's just not gonna be a big one. So even though, like I said, Tyrone Tracy's been consistent. He's been getting you 15+ points, but not ever so often. So nice add there. I would at least have him rostered. It would be very, very ignorant to not have that. So
kind of like a flex position then.
Yeah, absolutely. We can just look around. If anything, we can kind of just look around, bounce around for some for a couple of
Miami
matchups. Miami this week, they're playing the Bills. I don't think they've won a game in Buffalo in like 5 or 6 years, I believe it was. It was some crazy stat like that. Yeah, so the 2-5 Dolphins, who you wouldn't think they would be 2-5 at this point with the amount of talent that they have. Again, all the injuries, but Tua's back. He's going to be playing. But again, they never do well up in Buffalo, no matter what time of year it is. So it's going to be hard for there. But you're looking for you're going to play these guys. You're going to play Devon Achane. You're going to play Tyreek Hill. I've been very. It's Jalen Waddle, just the questionable of all questions right there for sure. He's not questionable to play. He's just questionable to play if you want to get some points and actually get some production. So.
Yeah, as far as fantasy goes.
Exactly. Yeah, gotcha. Exactly. On the flip side, you're looking to play just about every wide receiver there.
Okay.
In Buffalo, I like Khalil Shakir this week, like Amari Cooper, and I like Keon Coleman. I'll even double dip. I'll take both tight ends possibly if you want to get in there. Dalton Kincaid more than Dawson Knox, obviously, but Dalton Kincaid for sure. And then James Cook. I think you were talking about earlier other surprises. James Cook has just been another guy of just consistently getting it done. Okay. Again, that's just what goes to show you. He doesn't need a ton of touches. He just needs the optimal amount of looks, because this offense gets you in the red zone. This offense loves to move. So this Buffalo Bills team for win with James Cook, even though Ray Davis wants to get there, nip at his heels a little bit.
Sure,
he's still a good guy to have right there. So this is gonna be a fun game, good division game, and a nice little noon start for the Dolphins and the Bills. Quickly, I'm gonna also maybe look at let's see, Ravens and Broncos. Excuse me.
After coming off of that shocking loss to the Browns, how badly do you think? I wouldn't exactly say how badly, but I mean.
The Ravens want to get right.
Yeah.
The Ravens want to get right in this game. This is going to be a tough matchup for them on the defensive side of things, even though they don't have Patrick Surtain for the Denver Broncos. I believe on your local sports books, whatever you may be working with, again, 1-800-GAMBLER for any issues there. They're giving the Ravens a projected 27.5, 28 point total. So they're banking on them scoring. They're banking on them scoring a lot and getting the job done. But still, you got to be mindful that all these wide receivers that have played the Denver Broncos have been shut down, even though like I said, not a ton right there. So.
Yeah, and according to CBSSports.com, Lamar Jackson will be 100% to go against the Broncos.
Oh, that would be great. That'd be great for sure.
Yeah. I know that there was like some injury concerns with that. All right. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate your time for the Fantasy Sports.
Appreciate it.
I have been your host for On the Rise, AM 1410 WRMN, Derek Geyer, alongside my co-host, Mike Napolitano. Thank you for listening. Up next is The Truth About Chicago Sports with Marcus Mack. And don't forget,
he's right back there.
November 15th. November 15th, we've got the parlay in Skokie. So come and hang out with your boys, T-Lo Lopez and Kendall Gill. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. And we will be back next week, Saturday. And hopefully in studio, maybe in studio. But I am hoping to get in touch with Tilo so we could talk about that event. Later, y'all.
El Diablo Cantina, located by Spring Hill Mall at 113 Southwestern in Carpentersville, is your fun, hip, and festive family Mexican cantina, serving authentic recipes from all over Mexico that are made fresh daily. There's delicious cocktails using fresh fruits, or your choice of 30 craft beers, which go great with the menu. There's indoor and outdoor dining, open from 4 till 11 and until 4 a.m. on weekends, featuring Latin line dancing. Visit eldiablocantina.com today.
Looking for an affordable dentist close to home? Bender Dental Care in Elgin offers new patient specials from $29, including x-rays, a regular cleaning, and exam. Senior discounts, a no insurance discount plan, and care credit financing. Bender Dental Care is a full-service family dentist with an outstanding 5-star Google rating. To find out more, call us at 847-888-4333. Bender Dental Care, affordable dentistry, close to home.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 10 o'clock.